Greetings and salutations and Happy New Year. This is my first video for the year 2021. Solo guy here. It's been a while, certainly for me. I've been fairly busy, family and seasonal things and whatnot, but I wanted to do a review on this because I thought this was a fairly good system for what it is. And this is called Battlegroup Kursk. This is the first printing, I believe, of a game called Battlegroup Kursk, which its ancestor, I believe, was Battlegroup Normandy. Anyways, but the thing is, it's rules for tabletop wargaming on the Eastern Front, 1943. So on the back, it gives a little bit of details about Kursk. It gives the rules. It gives you a background of Kursk. It gives you army lists and some scenarios and some painting guides as well. So I mean, this is kind of like hardbound, Iron Fist Publishing. You can get this at Plastic Soldier Company, although now this is not the form that they have it. But when you open it up, I mean, immediately you're getting paintings, okay, you're getting sketches, and you're getting lovely photos of miniatures. Now, the Plastic Soldier Company makes 20mm and 15mm minis, although I think they were trying originally for 20, but they have made some good decisions about that. They have made 15mm as well. They've also recently done a modern set of rules called Northag, okay, Northern Army Group, essentially. But anyways, so you have the contents, and then again they use real photos interspersed. It kind of reminds me of Battlefront's Flames of War, of which you've seen a number of my videos for that. So it gives you an idea about how the books work, getting started. So I mean, if you literally have no clue what to do, this book will gently guide you through. And this here shows you what a Kursk battlefield would look like. I have to say, the terrain here, it's just wow, how awesome that is. This is a hobby where visual is really a big deal. Even if you did it on a budget, you could still do some really cool things about it. But anyways, it talks about your battle group. They talk about army lists, points, and battle rating. We'll get to that in a minute. But here you can also look at the game size. So you can look at the smallest is the squad, where the minimum number of points is 100 points, maximum is 350. The quote-unquote standard is 250. On a 20mm scale, your table size would be 6x4. On a 15mm, it's 4x4. And then it goes on up to platoon, company, and then battalion. So there's different scales that you can do depending how involved you want to get. But this is not a tournament set of rules, and that's something you have to realize. This is more for if you are doing like a command decision type level, if you will, but it can also go down to skirmish level, where each piece represents one vehicle or one machine gun. Each man represents one man. The way that it varies in terms of the turn and the orders, you have a variable number of orders that you can give a turn. That's depending on, one, how many officers you have, and two, what are you rolling. Okay, so for example, on a squad level, you got 1d6. Let's say you have one officer, so it'd be 1d6 plus 1. So let's say I rolled a 2. 2 plus 1, so I'm allowed to give 3 orders total, maximum to 3 units. But wait, I've got 7 units on the table. Guess what? You can only order 3 of them. The other 4 get to sit there and do nothing. So that's kind of a cool thing. But they also give you, here in the section, they also tell you, give you examples. It talks about the orders themselves, what you can give, okay? And this gives you an example of a turn. So, I mean, they guide you very gently into this, all the while with some pictures of awesomely painted miniatures, and of course, pictures of the actual fight of Kursk to get you in the mood, so to speak. Movement is the next thing. So it talks about the movement. You can actually overrun guns in this game, which is pretty cool. Open fire. Firing is different, and that's one of the things that attracted me, because in World War II, a lot of times when they were firing to suppress the other guy, okay, the other enemy. And here, like in Flames of War, that's more abstracted. Here, though, you shoot to, you can fire, you can use aimed fire, or you can use suppressing fire. In this edition, they call it area fire, and that's okay. But it gives you, tells you, goes through how they do the area fire. Okay, and that's with small arms, machine guns, and high explosive shells. Okay, aimed fire is when you're trying to actually kill somebody. You're trying to kill, you're trying to harm the unit. I want to point out that their area fire, which in their later editions they call it suppressive fire, you can kill a guy in there depending on how well they roll for their cover saves. Aimed fire, you have to go and see if you can actually see the unit, whereas, you know, it's not just line of sight, it's line of sight and can you actually observe the unit in there, because there's the chaos and the dust and the confusion on a battlefield. Whereas area fire, you don't need to do that. You're just putting a bunch of lead in the general direction and, you know, hope you can pin them down. Now the thing is, in pinning, it's more brutal here compared to Flames of War. In Flames of War, you can actually move your guys back toward your lines if they're pinned. I haven't seen many people do that. But when they fire at half firepower. Whereas here, if they're pinned, they can't do anything. They have to be unpinned. And you can give the rally order, but there's a consequence for doing that too. So the thing about this also is it talks about the infantry weapons that were there and what were they like, and this is something, again, for somebody who doesn't know anything about Kursk, you can go for it. You can really learn. So in a sense, this is a history book as well, and I have to say that's really awesome. Aimed fire with high explosive. So they get into the particular stuff. Aimed fire with armor-piercing shells. Okay, ranges on here, it's certainly different. Your rifle range can go up to 30 inches. So that kind of makes things a little bit more interesting as far as what you can do with infantry. Now there are a number of videos out there, you know, showing you battles and showing you how you can move and give orders and whatnot. And I certainly would recommend it. I took a look at that. But inevitably, we have to something that makes the game different compared to something like Flames of War or, well, even Command Decision. And that is the battle rating system. It's a fiction thing that every time you unpin, if you give a rally order to unpin a certain number of units, you have to draw a battle counter. You have a battle rating based on the kind of units and the number of units that you have at the beginning of the game. And the thing is, every time you rally, you have to pick up a random chit from the pile. And it could be a number from 1 to 5, it could be an airstrike, it could be a mine attack, it could be confusion, it could be low ammo. There's a lot of different things, and it introduces those weird things into the battlefield. And again, this is just showing you what that would look like. So, I mean, there's not that many 5s. You've got more 1s than 5s, but you got probably mostly 2s and 3s here. So if you started out with a battle rating of 18, you draw the first one, you got a 3, so now you're at 15. And the idea is that when you get down to 0, it doesn't matter if you're losing or winning, you're quitting. you're done. It doesn't matter if you're losing or winning, you're quitting. If your battle rating goes down to 0, it doesn't matter. So there's actually an advantage to using area fire as opposed to aimed fire. Because in area fire, you pin down units. And if the other guy can't order their units, that means they gotta rally. And if they rally, they take a chit for it. If your unit has been destroyed, you pick a chit. Okay? If you end up taking a victory point from the other guy, they take a chit. I mean, there's different things for it, and that makes it really, really cool. Now, there are unit special rules in here. Nice that they included the mine dogs here. Only the Russians could think this one up, of training dogs to go underneath tank engines and basically blow themselves up. Apparently it was not very successful, and the Germans kind of got wind that, yeah, shooting the dogs on sight was a good idea. Now, there's also other things here. Apart from a loader team, a mortar spotter, you also get a medic. Okay, you get an officer, an artillery spotter. You can also have engineers, where it could be bridging. You can have scouting. Senior officer. So there's different things that can be done here. Then you have special rules, like the T-34 mobility, the sniper scout, the Stahl, which is a Russian nationality rules. Ura, ura. So it's adding some things that the Russian military had there at the time. It also includes rules for aircraft, so you don't have to start the game with aircraft, but it's got anti-aircraft. You've got battlefield engineering in there, so you can do vehicle repair, vehicle recovery, bridging. But I'm going to assume that's on a higher game, like if you're running a battalion game, which would really be awesome. Now, the thing is, what happens if I know absolutely nothing about World War II, let alone the Russian front? And here it goes a little blurb about the First World War, and then it starts talking about Operation Barbarossa in 1941. And it gives the players the ultimate background for why did Kursk happen and what was happening exactly. You get a map, and again, you get photos of that time period as well. It talks about the Russian defenses. Okay, what was going on in the minds of the generals at the time. And then it also gives you the order of battle, which is really cool because if you want to create a scenario and you want to pick certain units, you can, because now you know which ones were where. And with a little bit of research, you can actually pinpoint where some of these units were on the battlefield of the area of Kursk. Kursk, while they call it the Battle of Kursk, Kursk never had a battle itself. It was the entire area around it that it was an incredible fight. It was the largest tank battle, arguably, of World War II, and effectively it was the end of the German ability to attack on the Russian front. They lost that momentum, but the Russians paid for it too. Okay. So, timeline for the Battle of Kursk. Also, when, based on what day, based on what unit you have. Okay. So, yeah, the northern, the southern pincers, and again, depending on the 48th Panzer Corps, the 2nd SS Panzer Corps. What did they do that day? Okay, and with some of these photos I haven't seen before, so that's that's a very nice thing. To have. Why was Citadel canceled, Operation Citadel? Then you go into the army lists. And again, the army lists, they will give you, there's like infantry requirements again for the game. Okay, and it shows you how to fill out a form, and then vehicle profiles, gun profiles. Okay, and then here they start with the German army at Kursk specifically, so you couldn't use this for Stalingrad or Bagration or Berlin. That's why they come out with other titles as the years go on. But again, it goes over the weapons that the Germans had, German equipment for the armored groups, so you can see which vehicle. It's pretty detailed in here. Self-propelled guns, okay. Okay, and I'm going to go forward. So they do it for the Panzer Division, which includes the Panzer Grenadier, but they also do it for infantry as well, because the infantry were there. It wasn't just a tank battle. They also include the Panther D. Okay, that would be the little d, I believe. But each unit has its own battle rating. Some of them do not add to the battle rating. It'll also tell you if the unit is regular, experienced, or inexperienced, I should say. Regular, veteran, or inexperienced. It also gives you air power, and then it talks about the individual units. Okay, and then for the Eastern Front for the German infantry, it goes into that because the organization is slightly different. Okay, yeah, I'm reviewing kind of like 2 books in one fell swoop. When they reprinted it separately. So you had a rules separate, you have Kursk separate. This is all in one thing. I was lucky to score this, but I felt that I had to go show this, and what a great way to start the year 2021 with it. I still enjoy Flames of War, but this is going to be different. I want to give it a try, especially solo, because I'm solo guy, all right? So again, and I believe these models here that they are 20mm scale, just in case you're wondering. Tank Corps, Mechanized Corps, okay. As we go through here, Armored Cars, Rifle Division. Again, there were plenty of them at Kursk. Okay, the battles. Okay, the terrain of Kursk, what was that looking like? And then it gives you an introductory scenario. So it's a squad level, just to give you an idea what the forces, what it would look like. If you wanted, you could simplify it even further, say like an infantry platoon and a tank and an anti-tank gun. And I may do that for my beginning lessons. They do include scenarios like attack, counterattack, here, so it gives you some generalized scenarios here. Defense line also, because this is a hobby and it's an awesome hobby. Okay, model painting guides, painting a 15mm Panther D. They give you like the basic thing. They can give you the advanced and then the master level. Okay, so it's depending on what are you satisfied with, and then a 20mm thing, a 15mm Stug. All right. So again, and then building a Kursk War Games table. So it actually gives you ideas on what you could do to build up the terrain on this, which I think is really cool. That's really nice to see, and lots of eye candy. Then they give you a linked campaign scenarios for the battle itself, and it gives you a list of what they have there. Which, of course, in some cases, some of us might be thinking, oh, wow, I don't have that. I've got T-34s, but I have no T-70s, for example. Pak-40s, not a problem. Stugs, not a problem. Flammenpanzer, I have none. You know, or even the later model Panzer IIIs that had the short-barreled 75. Okay. So some of these, I mean, these are beyond the squad level, as you can tell, okay, and it'll tell you the size of the table, flanking force. Then there's the appendix, which gives you the reference sheets, and then, of course, equipment. All right. Again, it's showing eye candy over and over again, and here's a tear out. Here, you could tear this out or perhaps make a copy of it, okay? And wow, talk about being hit with the color. Lots of color. Did I mention lots of color? Yeah, so I mean, the Plastic Soldier Company, they made the boxes such that, you know, they could sell you what they call an army deal, but they can also sell you, you know, individual boxes where you can build a platoon's worth, depending what it is you need. Same thing for infantry. They give you enough to basically make a company or a battalion if you want to look at the Russian organization, but it also gives you the heavy weapons as well. Okay, now here there's a perforation. I bought this sheet there, so it's perforated. But you can also get updated things on the Facebook page. So I mean, there's different things you can get. I myself got the updated version here. And I find, wow, this is really cool because it also includes the page numbers where these tables are found. Here it literally guides you for the arrows as to doing area fire, aimed fire. That is a really nice touch there. So yeah, I'm excited about giving these rules a try. And see, naturally, I will have to record this and I will have to put this one up and let you guys know how that worked out. But I've already ordered I already have a couple of the other books, and I just ordered Fall of the Reich. A number of them some are out of print, some you can buy only on PDF. I prefer the physical book myself, but that's just me. If you buy the PDF of the rules, I believe you can get a download of the Canadians versus the German SS in the area of Caen, France, in June 1944, in the weeks following the D-Day landings. So, yeah, I'm going to sit there and say this is definitely something for you guys to think about. Okay? Hey, I hope this benefited you, and I definitely give this a thumbs up. Okay, Solo Guy here. You take care. God bless you and have an awesome day.